Is anybody else left with Christmas nails because of the national lockdown, or is it just me? Hi everyone and welcome back to another YouTube video. I hope you're all doing well. So in today's video I thought I would film a tattoo tour because I love watching other people's videos on things like this because I'm super nosy and I just want to know what everybody's got. Quite a lot of people have asked me to film a video like this, however obviously I said I wouldn't do it until my back was finished, but we've been put into another national lockdown, so obviously I don't know when I'm going to be able to get it finished and I need content to film. So today I'm just going to talk about all the tattoos that I have, and I'll show some close-up clips of them so that you can see exactly what they are, and I'll just talk through what they are and if they have any meaning, when I got them, pain tolerance, blah 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 blah. And let's just get started, shall we? So I'm going to start out with my right arm first because this was the first sleeve that was completed and I'm pretty sure it was the first arm that we started on. So at the very top of my sleeve you will see a ram's skull with two roses underneath the horns. So this was the very first tattoo that I got on my right arm and the pain was a walk in the park. Honestly, the outer arm is just painless. I mean obviously you can feel it, but it's pretty tolerable, like it's totally fine. This is what we just started out with to begin with. It was literally just the ram's skull, the roses, and that was it. The mandala piece that you see at the very top that caps off my shoulder, we actually added this at a later date because we thought that it just capped off the arm a lot nicer and it just kind of followed the natural shape of my shoulder and it just looked a lot more in proportion. So we decided to add that at a later date. It's the OG tattoo on my arm because it was the very first one. So after the ram skull, you move further down my arm and you will see some peonies, and around the ram skull there are a few like flowers and things like that. So it just kind of ties everything together. None of these really have any meaning, they just look really nice. So yes, the big peonies, again, they were pretty painless on the outer arm, it was totally fine, and they just tie everything together and I just think it all looks really nice as one. So moving into my inner bicep now, I actually remember this being a little bit more painful because this skin is it's quite nippy there. So I always think it's quite funny, like before I started getting tattoos, I used to like nip different places of my body where I wanted tattoos to see like how much it hurt, and that's what I would associate the pain with for a tattoo. I'd like nip it and be like, oh, that hurts. That's what a tattoo will feel like, but oh boy was I wrong. So yes, it is quite nippy on the inner bicep just because the skin is quite thin. But again, it's totally tolerable. So this tattoo is just it's a huge mandala piece. I absolutely love this tattoo. It's actually one of my favourite tattoos that I have. I always just kind of forget that I have it because it's like tucked away on the inside of my arm. But it is really beautiful. Dot work is like my favourite type of tattoo. I just think it's really feminine, and no matter like what it is, I just think dot work looks so nice with like every piece. So moving down my arm now, you'll see my elbow piece. There's actually quite a funny story behind this elbow piece. So my tattoo artist Jodie, she's done every single tattoo that is on my body. However, this elbow piece she did not do. I think it was like back in like 2016. I went to a Blackpool tattoo convention and this guy had some really nice mandala pieces laid out on his desk, and I was like, oh, they look sick, I really think it'd look wicked on my elbow, let's do it. So I basically sat down, paid him the money, and he placed it on my elbow. Everything was going great, but he was just rushing. He rushed the whole thing. He was so heavy-handed, he barely spoke to me. I was in absolute agony. Like, he was so heavy-handed, I felt like he was scraping the bone out of my arm. It was just so bad, and then the fire alarm went off in the building halfway through my tattoo, so we all had to vacate the building and everybody was like rushing and they kept banging my arm and it was so painful. And then we had to finish it and I was like almost in tears, it was that bad. So after that I had to drive home, and honestly my elbow, like swear to God, it swelled out like 3 times its size. It was enormous. I couldn't believe it, and I could barely drive home because I couldn't steer the steering wheel because I couldn't bend my arm. Like I literally couldn't bend my arm, and it was just so painful. And for like 2 days I couldn't sleep because I just couldn't get comfortable, and it was like a massive golf ball. It was just unbelievable. so swollen. So once the swelling had gone down and I could actually take a look at it, I noticed that the lines were just super thick, and he tried to do some dot work, but it just kind of looked like splodges because he'd obviously not used a small enough needle. So basically Jodie ended up touching it up for me quite a few years later because I was so unhappy with it. So yes, it actually looks way better than it did, and now I have my entire sleeve done. You can't see it. You wouldn't look at it and think like, oh, that's a really bad tattoo, because my arm's completely done. It doesn't stick out like a sore thumb as much as it did. Don't go to anybody else because they'll ruin it. They'll ruin it and you'll cry. You'll have a swollen elbow for months. It was like 2 days, but it's fine. So moving down now onto the lower portion of my arm, you will see a lot of floral patterns and designs. You will basically just, again, see quite a large peony. Underneath it we have a human skull. This is, again, I really love skulls. I just think for tattoos, they look absolutely wicked. I just love the way they look. On the wrist we just capped it off with another peony, and the leaves follow it round just to tie everything together. So on the inner portion of my arm, again like the inner bicep, is just a huge mandala piece with loads of dot work and shading. This is again such a beautiful piece. I love the way it's like symmetrical, and it just really complements everything else that I have going on. So you will obviously see that in between each of my tattoos I have this gap filler. My gap filler runs throughout both sleeves on both arms. It's the exact same pattern. We kept the theme going. So if anybody's familiar with the flower of life pattern, this is where we got the inspiration from. So a lot of people have the flower of life pattern as a tattoo in some way, shape or form. It is actually really popular. I've seen quite a lot of people with it on their throats, which is originally what I wanted, but then so many people got it, so I was just like, we're not doing that, I'll do something else. Basically we took our inspiration from the flower of life, but we kind of tweaked it a little bit. So if you do look closely, it's not the flower of life. The pattern is different, but it is where it comes from, and as you will see through the clips, it runs throughout every single piece that I have. I didn't want any gaps in my sleeves at all, so that's where the pattern of the gap filler comes from, if anybody was wondering. But it is slightly different, it's not exactly the same. So moving on now to my left arm, at the very top you will see a portrait of a woman. So this, I like to refer to her as Eve, because I'm not a religious person, but like obviously you know the story, like Adam and Eve and the apple and the snakes and all that stuff. I think that's how it goes. But basically I like to refer to her as Eve. If anybody ever asks what's the story behind her, who is she, like is she anybody in particular, I make up this story and say she's Eve from the Adam and Eve story. But really that wasn't mine and Jodie's intentions. So here she is in all her glory. She's absolutely amazing. Again, you will hear me say this is one of my favourite tattoos that I own, but like really they're all kind of my favourite. So moving on now to the inner bicep on my left arm. This is a more simple design in comparison to the other arm. So again, I love skulls, so we kept that in the theme. So you have a human skull, and there is a little moth there and some more floral pattern, and again I just really like it. It fills out nicely, and it's surrounded by the gap filler, which again I just think ties it in really nice. I didn't want too much of a big piece on the inner bicep because obviously the outer arm where Eve is quite big, so I just kind of wanted to keep it quite minimalistic on the inside and just fill the rest with the gap filler. So yeah, that's that. So moving down now onto the elbow, again, shocker, it's a mandala. I'd love to know how many mandalas I actually have. I've never even thought to count, but there's so many. So again, it's another mandala, but this time Jodie did this one, which is why it looks 20,000 times better. We decided to do this mandala a bit off centre because my right mandala on my elbow is like really central to the point of my elbow, so we didn't really want that for this side, so we did it a bit off centre, so she actually drew like over my elbow, and it was just awful. That's that one. I think it looks really sick, and again it keeps in theme with the other arm that has a mandala on the elbow, and obviously I'm a freak about OCD and symmetry, so yeah, love that. So moving down now onto the lower portion of my forearm, we have a huge lynx. I just think it's such a beautiful animal and I absolutely love it. So many people think it's just a normal like house cat when they see it, but The way you can determine it is obviously Lynx's ears are quite pointy, and obviously in the tattoo you can see that. Unless you really look at it, you kind of can't see. But yeah, so I absolutely love this tattoo. Again, one of my favourites, but I just think he's absolutely stunning. And yes, he's a he. He's actually just eaten a bird because there's a bird skull under his claw. So that's cute. But yeah, I just think he's absolutely stunning, and yeah, I just absolutely love this piece. So surrounding him, we again, shocker, decided to do a big mandala, kind of as like a border around him, and I just think it looks absolutely sick. Again, I just think mandalas look sick wherever you place them, so yeah, that's that, and it's just full of dot work and shading. So on the outer part of my arm, I didn't really want too much because again, the Lynx portrait is quite large, so again, we just kept it quite minimalistic with floral patterns and a lot of the gap filler. So yeah, those are both of my sleeves, and I wouldn't change a single thing about them. I think they look absolutely wicked, and I love the gap filler. I think it really ties everything nicely together. So yeah, now we're going to move on to my legs. So on my right leg, I have one tattoo. Well, I have a few, but mainly I have one tattoo, if that makes sense. You'll see what I mean. So on my right leg, I have my knee tattooed. So this knee tattoo is a butterfly, and the pattern surrounding it is just a mandala. Pretty standard, pretty simple. It's got some dot work in there, kept it black and grey. I absolutely love it. However, it absolutely effing wrecked. Anybody wanting to get a knee tattoo, be prepared for that pain, because boy. So moving further down now onto my ankle, you will see some cute little flash designs. So the first little one I got was the Wildberry Princess, and this is from Adventure Time. If anybody watches Adventure Time, I mean, I hope you watch Adventure Time because it's great. But yeah, so she's cute. She's got a little crown on her little stem. She's pink and she's green, and she's surrounded by some cute little pink and red hearts, and she's just hella cute. And she was the first colour tattoo I actually ever got, and yeah, she's so cute. So the next one I got was the little Beetlejuice voodoo doll. This again is actually, this is one of my favourite tattoos. I absolutely love the film Beetlejuice, and I think she drew this as a flash design for Halloween, I believe. But yeah, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my god, that's so cute. Like, I love the film, and I just love the way that it's a voodoo doll. I just think it's a really different way to do it. So I just love the way he turned out. I love the little pins in his little arms and head. So the third and final colour tattoo that I have, and the most recent one actually, is the Powerpuff Girl little Dracula. She is so cute. She's a lot bigger than the other two, however, she's just so cute. I mean, look at her. Like, how can you deny that she's cute? Like, look at that. Like a vampire Powerpuff Girl. Sorry, what? That's so cute. So yes, those are the only 3 colour tattoos that I have, and I'm sure I'll get more. We'll see how many more colour tattoos I allow Jodie to do, because I'm not really one for colour, but these are so cute. How can I say no? So moving on now to my left leg, I have pretty much a half sleeve, however it's not finished. So basically the shin tattoo that you will see on the clip is again, shocker, mandala style. So it's actually a little moth. If you look closely enough, you will see its little head underneath my kneecap. That's where he starts, and then his wings are closed. So we incorporated the wings and the mandala style together. So yeah, love that, and I love the way it comes to a point at the bottom of my ankle, because I just think it really like caps it all off nice. So yes, absolutely love that. However, it's not actually finished, but I'm not too OCD about it because I kind of like the way it looks with just the line work right now. I'm not in a rush to finish it, but obviously I will finish it eventually. And then at either side we have 2 symmetrical peonies and leaves, just to kind of tie everything together. But again, obviously it's just the line work because they need shading in. So turning round now onto my calf, I have a portrait of a tiger. She's got a nice little headdress on. So many people say that calf is horrific for pain. However, I honestly didn't struggle. I had one sitting on this and that was it. It was done. Again, I always forget that I have this because it's like behind me and I just can't ever see it. So last but not least is my back piece. So obviously I did an entire video on my back actually, didn't I? I probably would have had it done by now. However, obviously we got put into tier 4 over Christmas, and then we got hit with another national lockdown. So yeah, obviously I can't get anything done until the tattoo shops are allowed to reopen. So it is just a symmetrical piece. Again, shocker, mandalas, flowers. So on my shoulder blades are 2 huge flowers. I'm pretty sure these are peonies as well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure they are. So 2 huge peonies, and going up onto my neck is just the leaves to them. And then in the centre of my back is actually the first ever tattoo I got. I'll insert a picture of the first ever tattoo I got back in like 2015, and it was actually my back. Not many people know this, but the centre of my back was the very first tattoo that I got. So this is just completely dot work. It took like 2 full day sit-ins. Most people start out with a small tattoo, but no, Lauren just going straight in with the back tattoo because she's an absolute psychopath. So the centre was actually already there, and we just built the rest around it. So we did 2 huge peonies at either side, and then underneath the peonies we did 2 big mandalas, and then at the bottom, to cap the bottom of the back off, we just did some like mandala-y pattern at the bottom. So even though it's not finished, the only thing left to do now, I'm pretty sure, are the leaves, and then the rest is just dot work. So it should be pretty easy. I think it'll look absolutely amazing once it is done, and I'm just so happy with how it looks. I think it looks insane. So yeah, that's all of my tattoos that I have so far. I do have a few finger tattoos, however they have kind of like fallen out a bit, so I'm not going to show those because they're not that cute. But I just have a love heart on my ring finger, and then the finger next to that I have a rose, and on my right hand I have a snake on my ring finger. But they've kind of dropped out. The love heart's fine, but the rose and the snake's dropped out. We need to like go over them. So yeah, that's all of the tattoos that I have so far. I hope you enjoyed having a nosy. Maybe you've got some inspiration, maybe you just like to see what I've got. I don't know, but I hope that you've taken something. So obviously it doesn't stop there. I want way more. I really want my hands doing, I really want a throat tattoo, and I want some more on my legs. So we've still got a way to go, but I'm sure we'll get there. And I think it'll be really cool to do an updated tattoo video, because then I can like look back on this video and like see my progress. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and I hope you've enjoyed having a little nosy at all my tattoos. I hope that it encourages you to get some, because join the club. You can join my club. I don't have a club, but maybe I should make a club. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. This lockdown's made me insane. I'll leave Jodie's handle in the description box so that you can go and check her Instagram out. So make sure you follow her if you haven't already. So yeah, thank you for watching today's video. Please like, subscribe and comment if you haven't already, and see you in my next video. Bye!